recently in London and I decided to do a little Shadowhunter walking tour. This was a self-planned, self-guided Shadowhunter walking tour. I ended up having to cut down the amount of places I went to visit because I just ran out of time. I was only in London for a day or two, so I didn't have loads of time to dedicate to this. However, I did get some of the big Shadowhunter locations. I reckon I'll do like a part 2 or something if I end up back in London so I can finish the rest of the Shadowhunter locations. I found an interactive Shadowhunter map on Cassandra Clare's website, and I'll link that in the description if you want to go have a look. In this map, it has markers showing different parts of London that have ties to the Shadowhunter world, and so I decided to bring you guys with me. My first stop on this Shadowhunter quest was Tower Bridge. The route took me through a little park, and overall the walk from the hotel was really nice. Touristy, but for special tourists because we're on a Shadowhunter quest. Tower Bridge actually opened in 1894, and so it could not actually feature in the first, like the Infernal Devices. So when Cassandra Clare actually went on to do the last hours, she got to have her Tower Bridge moment. And so we actually see a whole fight scene happen on the bridge in that series instead. You have to imagine Magnus Bane being able to stop all of this traffic, because that's what he does in the book scene. Is he cuts it off so that they can have a big old fight right in the middle. Let's tie Tower Bridge back to the actual series. The first place we actually see Tower Bridge show up is the Lord of Shadows cover. I don't actually have it in physical with me. Here it is on screen, and that is Tower Bridge if you zoom in a little bit. The first time we actually see Tower Bridge in a book, in it, not on it, is in A Chain of Gold. Let me find this. Magnus avoided a group of tourists with box cameras and steered James down Tower Hill, a hand on his shoulder. Okay, so we're getting closer. They're talking. The others had begun to gather around. Reluctantly, James dropped the topic of his grandfather. So, do you think you can do it? he asked Magnus. Create a distraction? Or should we come back later when there are fewer mundanes about? Magnus's eyes glittered. No need for that, he said. He stepped to the railing along the river's edge, where a high wall dropped down to a stony beach that ran beside and below the bridge. With a flourish, he drew off his gloves and took them into his waistcoat pocket. Then he held out his hands. Blue fire sparked at his fingertips. That's Magnus sealing off the bridge so they can have their little fight. Here it is. The small group of Shadowhunters gaped as it swung towards the glimmering illusion of Tower Bridge and onto the bridge deck. There's Tower Bridge in the book, and this is actually such an important scene because it's kind of the climax of the book. It's where James and team take on the Manticore demon along with, I think, Korra demons. The bridge was empty of Korra, yeah. And this is also where, I think, Cordelia falls off Tower Bridge. We see Lucy go down to the bank to where Cordelia has fallen, and that's where she sees all of the ghosts, like figures rose from the water, pallid as ash. A woman with long streaming hair, her face bloated and black, and so we kind of get a real look at Lucy's like ghost powers here. One of the ghosts, I believe, carries Cordelia and leaves her by Lucy, and then they vanish. We also see Jesse Blackthorn in that scene. Tower Bridge actually plays a monumental part in the climax of this book. After crossing Tower Bridge, we moved further along the Thames towards Borough Market. So we came this way, came down. Did we come through here?
Yeah.
And we're coming along this.
Okay, we're gonna go this area where the Borough Market is.
Okay, cute. Right over here is the Borough Market, which is what the London Shadow Market is based on. Borough Market opened in like the 12th century, so it's pretty old. The idea is during the day it's this mundane food market, and at night it transforms into the downworlder shadow market. So we have more mystical wares by night. And Cassandra Clare has actually said that this is one of her favourite spots in London, and she has to come every time she's in town. She also likes to walk along the Thames from here up to Blackfriars Bridge, and I believe there's a graveyard near here that we see Will Herondale actually visit in one of the Infernal Devices. Pigeon Gate.
We're gonna have so much pigeons.
Pigeon content.
Pigeon Gate.
His name is Will. Scene of the crime. I think we know who set that place up.
Oh, yeah.
Blood red font. Conspiracy. London Shadow Market is first seen, I believe, in Lord of Shadows. When Kit, Ty and Livy visit Blackthorn Manor, the former Blackthorn Manor, I believe they go to the London Shadow Market. But while this is the first time we actually visit the London Shadow Market in like book order, technically chronologically the London Shadow Market is visited in Ghosts of the Shadow Market in the past. In universe, the Ghosts of the Shadow Market story takes place first, but we as readers encounter the London Shadow Market first, more in the future in the Dark Artifices. I'm going to actually talk about the Ghosts of the Shadow Market story because it is a lot more significant and the London Shadow Market plays a bigger role in that story. The short story in question is called Cast Long Shadows from Ghosts of the Shadow Market that came out in 2019, I believe. The name of Cast Long Shadows comes from a proverb that says, "Old sins cast long shadows." So I'm going to throw up a spoiler warning right now for this short story. If you've not read The Last Hours or this short story, there's going to be spoilers here. But anyway, so that you've been warned anyway. So this story, Cast Long Shadows, is a Matthew Fairchild short story. This is the story where Matthew goes to Shadow Market and he is happy, he has friends, family, love, all of it. He goes to the Shadow Market just in search of fun, because that's Matthew for you. And he purchases a potion or an elixir, whatever you want to call it. Long story short, all of this ends up culminating in his mother having a miscarriage. Matthew very much internalizes this and really feels the guilt of this for the rest of his days. He feels this and he feels the repercussions of this. And this incident is actually what triggers his alcoholism, because he cannot handle what he did. This is Matthew's greatest sin. The London Shadow Market really is a big part in that, and in his life just going in a completely different direction than it would have previously. It's a pretty important setting. That's why I decided to talk about this one. Next up is probably the most famous Shadowhunter location in all of London, Blackfriars Bridge. We walked along the Thames, following the path suggested by Cassandra Clare herself.
I think the globes are on here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Somewhere.
So
we have a bonus stop on this Cassandra Clare tour. Shakespeare, Cassandra Clare, not much of a difference really, so. Blackfriars Bridge, which is probably one of the most iconic Shadowhunter locations. Jem and Tessa decide to meet here on this bridge between, I think it's 1878 and 2000 and something, or like until modern times. It became such a big part of their love story and for the Shadowhunter series as a whole. This is like a Shadowhunter fan pilgrimage. And apparently, we'll have a look when we're up there. You can see the Institute, or what is supposed to be the Institute, from the bridge. And we're currently actually under the railway bridge. This did not exist in Jem and Tessa's time. Go have a look. We all know Blackfriars Bridge, right? Like, I think the first time I went to London independent of my parents. I went on my first little friend holiday to London when I was younger, and one of the destinations I had to go to was Blackfriars Bridge. I have my copy of Clockwork Angel here, and there is a whole chapter called Blackfriars Bridge, I'm pretty sure. This is in chapter 14 of Clockwork Angel, called Blackfriars Bridge. Jem and Tessa have left the Institute and they're talking. They were friends of the Nephilim, the Knights, mundanes, but not without their own knowledge of the shadow world. And of course, he added, as they came out from the network of streets and onto Blackfriars Bridge itself. Many think that the Silent Brothers are the original Blackfriars, though no one can prove it. This is it, he added, gesturing before him, my favourite place in London. So this is kind of like our introduction to Blackfriars Bridge. It became such an iconic location for Jem and Tessa to meet up every single year to stay in contact, even, spoiler, when Jem becomes a Silent Brother. It's really a fundamental part of their love story. Next up was the London Institute. The London Institute in our world is known as St. Bride's Church. We're going to the Institute. Lifting my skirts, just like Tessa would. Actually burnt down during the Blitz. Not fun fact. I have always wondered what buildings the institutes in all of the main cities would be based on or in. Like, I don't think we know the Dublin Institute, what that would be. I've had some ideas but don't actually know. And Cassandra Clare actually recently announced or told us which area the Paris Institute is based on. I cannot remember the name of it, but I'll pop it on screen. So this is the London one, which I didn't even know we knew. I found it out through looking stuff up for this video, so here we are. The London Institute, once again, is first mentioned in Clockwork Angel. Once again, there is a whole chapter just called The Institute. Every city has an institute. If there's Shadowhunters there has to be an institute. It is run by Charlotte Fairchild and her husband Henry Branwell, and it passes on to Will and Tessa Herondale once Charlotte and Henry are done with running the institute. So it is really an iconic location for absolutely every Shadowhunter book. Whatever the institute is in that city is an iconic location. The final location was the site of the Devil's Tavern. This was actually really close to the Institute. If you're curious, I believe it was at 1 Fleet Street, around there. The Devil's Tavern was actually over there. We are in the shade, so we are over here. It was actually a tavern back in the day, and it was a hub for creatives. So I believe Jonathan Swift used to actually drink at the Devil's Tavern. It was demolished in 1787, but clearly that is just for the mundanes. The downworlders kept it going, and that's obviously where we have Matthew and James and the crew set up and have their own little space away from the Institute to do mischief, basically, especially since their parents are obviously mischief makers #1. So the kids needed their own space. away from the Institute to conduct their investigations and all the stuff they do. That was right here. Pray for me, the Irish person in England during the World Cup match. What I found actually kind of surprising is that there's a throwaway line in Clockwork Angel referencing the Devil's Tavern, but then obviously this is where it's mostly in Chain of Gold. The bank was gone. In its place was a half-timbered tavern with great diamond-paned windows. The light within the windows was tinted with a reddish glow, and through the open front door more red light poured out onto the pavement. Lettered below the image were the words, "The Devil Tavern." So it's actually mentioned here. What Jem says about it is that it was an ordinary tavern once, but as it grew more and more infested with downworlders, the Nephilim became concerned about intertwining the shadow world with the mundane world. They barred mundanes from the place by the simple expedient of using a glamour to convince them that the tavern had been knocked down and a bank erected in its place. The devil is a nearly exclusively downworlder haunt now. Jem glanced up at the moon, a frown crossing his face. It's growing late, we'd better move on. And this is before they actually get to Blackfriars Bridge. So the Devil's Tavern is actually in Clockwork Angel first, but then obviously it's in Chain of Gold as Matthew and James's like home away from home, so they can have like their own space. I believe it was actually mentioned in the Secrets of Blackthorn Hall as well. In a funny little entry, Emma and Julian end up kind of crashing a retirement party in the Devil Tavern. I also like Cassandra Clare's way of blending real life version of the Devil Tavern and obviously making it a Shadowhunters location. That's all the locations I have for you. I hope you enjoyed seeing these locations, especially if you can't get to London that easily. I hope this was a good little view of what you would see if you were there. I apologize about the sound quality. I do not have a lav mic or anything. I just had to rely on my camera's microphone and everything it could pick up, and it was super hot and super windy in London. My camera was having a few issues. It was like overheating. Thank you for bearing with that. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, here's another one that YouTube recommends for you, and I will see you next time.